everybody, and welcome to Ridiculously Serious, a show where we draft teams from absolutely ridiculous categories and have a completely serious debate about them. My name is Mike, and I'm your host. As always, I'm joined by my co-hosts Joe and Brandy. Good morning, everybody. We're doing a morning recording today. Got pushed back a little bit, so nice, bright and early start. So, Joe, let's kick off our morning with a question for you. If you could only listen to one band for the rest of your life, who would that be?
All right, so I got to go with a band that has been pretty much in my top 3 favorite bands since I was 10 years old. Got into them through their music being involved in skate videos, and their style ranges from punk to emo to like soft rock on even the more recent albums. I'm talking about AFI.
Wow.
Solid choice.
I have 3 AFI tattoos, so I've liked them
no
for a long
idea
time.
about that.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. Their material during the 90s is like great, skate punk stuff, and then they got some mainstream popularity in the 2000s with the more emo sound from Sing the Sorrow, and then they've done a bunch of other things with their style and kind of do a more rock oriented thing now. So it's a good variety of music over 30 years.
That's
nice.
It's a good pick. It's a little surprise. I was like 80% sure you were going to say the Dixie Chicks. So,
well, first of all, they're called the Chicks now.
Are they?
Get with the times, Mike.
Oh, I apologize.
They changed their name because they realized that the term Dixie has roots in racism. So,
yep.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
I apologize to all our
Dixie
all our Chicks faithful. I almost did it again. All right, Brandy, if you could live, I'm done. I'm done for. Brandy, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
I think in New Zealand, and I don't have anywhere in particular, and I know that's pretty vague. I don't know enough about New Zealand to choose a particular area, but I feel like it's just got like a little bit of everything. It's like really beautiful. I feel like they kind of got their shit together a little bit more than over here. And everybody like talks about how friendly the people are. I don't know if that's a haha funny joke, but all the people I've met from New Zealand are pretty cool. So I feel like that'd be a dope place to hang out for a while.
Sure, I do. Yeah, my cousin honeymooned in New Zealand and did like a bunch of hiking and stuff, and they had pictures, and it was really beautiful, like landscape and the mountains and everything.
Yeah, it's Middle Earth.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was really nice. So yeah, it's a good choice.
I didn't want to get into nerd stuff, but
I'm gonna go there and just cosplay Lord of the Rings every day.
I'll be real. That is when I hear New Zealand, that is the first thing that I think about.
Yeah.
For like the past 20 years.
I mean, it makes sense.
I hear New Zealand, I think, oh, Lord of the Rings was filmed there.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
That was my first instinct, and I was like, is that a good enough reason?
That's funny. All right, so now we move on to last week's winner. If you missed it, we drafted Life's Worst Routine Minor Inconveniences. That's right, a full episode of listening to us talking about annoying shit. I think we managed to make it decently fun for the topic at hand. And the winner of the annoying shit draft was and is Joe. Yes. With the best choices of annoying everyone. Joe picked the most on brand.
I think it's the fact that I went with things that are done very, very often.
I think that definitely played a part in it. Mm-hmm. I know my wife voted for you, and she said it was sold pretty early on because as soon as you said getting out of bed, she was like, oh, yeah. Like that. Yeah. So you locked up a pretty early vote because I think that was your first pick.
It was my first pick.
So yeah, she's like, I don't think anything could top that. So
I agree. That's why I first picked it. If I had won the die roll or the first pick or whatever, I was taking the first pick just to get that one.
Sure. That makes sense. You got lucky, ended up with it anyway. So yeah. All right. So this week we are drafting the mundane superpowers that we would most like to have. So there are no rules, and we aren't going to veto each other's choices, but keep in mind we're going for mundane superpowers. So this week is really, probably more so than any other, is really going to be voter heavy and voter dependent, because the only real rules enforcement is going to come from the voters, not from us. So like if somebody picks, you know, the ability to fly, that's legal, they're allowed to do that, but you know, it doesn't fit the category at all, because I think we would all agree that flying would not be mundane in any way. So it's going to be completely up to the voters to decide who most accurately. It's like a twofold thing, which I really like this week. You're going to pick who most accurately described or fit into the mundane category, but then also who picked the best mundane ones, you know? So it's like twofold, which is cool. I think it's a little bit different than our normal draft where you're just kind of picking, you know, the best, or you're just voting on the best of what's available. So that's cool. That'll be fun. We are going back to 5 rounds this week. So let's go ahead and determine the order. So Joe, as the winner, you get that first number choice.
Let's bring it back to number 13.
13 it is. Brandy, hit me with it.
37.
37. All right. I will go 72 for no reason whatsoever. And the winner is... so the number is 54, and the winner is me by 1, right? 54 to 18. No, Brandy.
Brandy,
Brandy. Brandy by 1. So Brandy, then me, then Joe is the choice order. So Brandy, what would you like for your draft spot?
I will go third.
Third, okay. I think I'm gonna go first because there's one I really want to get. I don't think there's going to really be any overlap this week. I feel like this is a tough category to have overlap. So I don't think the draft order will actually matter too much.
I hope there's not overlap. I really like the ones that I have.
If there's overlap, it's going to be more topic oriented. It won't be like exact.
Yeah, I agree.
Similar.
I agree.
So, I mean, I'm going to stay away. If you guys say something that's similar to mine, I'll stay away from it.
Sure.
But...
Yeah, I agree. So I'll go first. So Joe, that leaves you with second. So I will go ahead and get us kicked off. So this is the only one that I think could have overlap depending on, you know, just like you said, like if we stay away from like topics, you know, like if you guys pick something similar. Now I will qualify this. This is the one on my list that I think might rub people a little bit of the wrong way with like the mundaneness. I think the rest are very mundane. But this to me, it's always something I wanted to be able to do. And when you think about superpowers, in my opinion, it's like something that can save people or like some incredible like physical feat, you know? So like while this would be really cool and maybe it's not mundane in that sense, it doesn't actually like do anything, you know what I mean? So like I think it fits. So anyway, with that long build up, I would like to have the superpower of being able to speak and understand all languages. So just like, you know, when you know, you hear somebody, obviously you guys understand what it is, but I'm saying for my explanation is I always have, I think everybody has this like daydream fantasy where you're like riding in the subway and then somebody's like shit talking you in a different language. And then you just let it go the whole ride. And then as you're getting off, you say like, oh, have a nice day, like in their language.
Yeah,
and they're just like, what? You know, like, but also for less juvenile reasons, it would be nice to be able to communicate with everybody. So that would be really cool. I feel like it'd be very useful.
I feel like it definitely does straddle that line.
I don't think that's mundane at all, to be honest.
No, I would kill to have that.
That was what was tough for me because, like I said, it was something I've always wanted, and I understand that it is really cool. But like I said, in my mindset, it was more of like, I'm not going to go out and save the world by doing this. You know what I mean? Like if evil aliens attack the Earth, I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, I'll speak to them in Mandarin. Yeah, like, you know.
You're just like, yeah, I can speak that language.
Sure. So I think, like I said,
no.
Yeah, like I said, I guess we'll have to leave that one up to the voters. But I think I'll bring it back with the rest because the rest of mine are super mundane. So I think I balanced it out okay. So we'll see what happens. But Joe, we will kick it over to you for number 2.
Yeah. So Brandy, congratulations on either your or my win this week, because Mike already lost it for himself. A really cool one. I think I went in a very different direction than at least Mike here. My superpower that I would pick, my mundane superpower, first one, is being able to hold my pee for extended periods of time.
That was on my list.
No way.
Okay, not entirely that. It was to completely get rid of the having to pee.
Oh,
at
like
all.
Schmidt from New Girl, where he just goes and it
absorbs
into his body. Yeah, so that actually, Schmidt is what gave me the idea for that, but I wanted it to be even more mundane than not having to pee, to just be, you can go 12 to 18 hours. I'm not even talking like days. I'm talking just 12 to 18 hours. You got to go twice a day, maybe. I think that would be great for long car rides. Maybe this person could be a long haul trucker, and that could be their thing. That could be their superpower.
See, I get that. I do understand that mine was definitely cooler, but if you're talking about things people would really like to have, I would argue that's kind of, I would argue everybody would kill for that too. Nobody likes peeing. I feel like
that's something somebody wouldn't kill for, though.
They yours is speaking every language. Yours is something that can get you various high-paying, high-profile jobs. Mine is all right, I'd be a great long-haul trucker.
Hey, truckers make good money if they own their own truck.
Security guard. Yeah, I listen, man. One of my best friends growing up just did. Him and his dad both are professional truck drivers, and they did California and back in 5 days, and they got paid a ton of money to do it.
Yeah, no, they do well. But also, I would like to say on the Schmidt thing that this now marks 3 consecutive weeks that Joe did something for video purposes on a podcast, where he did the Schmidt acting out the squeezing his body, which our listeners on the podcast will have no idea what he did in that brief pause. So I feel like at this point he's doing it on purpose to keep a streak going of
I'm used to recording YouTube videos for my YouTube channel.
You're just trying to make sure that the people that choose to watch the YouTube videos are also
get that little bit of extra entertainment.
Yeah, behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, there you go. We got to start putting out that Patreon footage. All right, so Joe's ability to not stop peeing but to hold in your pee for very, very extended, is that just do you eventually have to pee, but it is it on your choice? Is it just you hold it in until you want, or is it you hold it in for there's only so far you can hold it in?
It's
only so far. And I mean, it's going to depend. If you chug a gallon of water, it'll probably hit you in 12 hours. Whereas, if you're drinking a normal amount,
sure, you can go a few days.
Probably go maybe 18 hours.
Oh, so you went real. So you're I'm just gonna really trim this power.
Dude, you said mundane. I did mundane.
Fair enough. All right, Brandy, hit us with your first 2 picks.
Yes. So I think the first one I'm going to go with is something I would very much like to have, and that's the ability to cut onions without it burning your eyes.
Okay, sure.
Because I feel does it improve my quality of life at all? Not really, but it would be super nice to just be able to enjoy it. I eat a lot of onions.
Sure.
Me too.
Not proud of it, but I eat a lot of onions.
Onions are delicious.
Yeah, onions are great.
So good.
They're very versatile.
And if they could just not hurt me, I would very much appreciate it.
So I actually used to have that superpower. And you know how they say your body changes all the time or whatever?
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and my mom would be cooking, and I'd either help her out or I just we had open floor plans. So I'd be just somewhere in that area. They never bothered me. I would help her cut onions, never bother me. And as I got older, now my wife cuts onions and I'm dying. I'm in the other room and I'm dying. And I'm what the hell happened? I used to never have the issue. And it's something my wife told me one time, because she was curious. So she looked at it, and it's something with it's actually the type of eyes you have, meaning the color of eyes you have. There's a different sensitivity or something. Which no, that is true because I have very blue eyes.
Light.
Well,
you're
that's part of it too. Like I have very blue eyes and I'm very sensitive to light. Like I have to wear sunglasses like basically all the time outside because I'm super sensitive to light. And I think it was like something kind of along those lines too. But I don't know. I could be.
I think your mom lied to you, but all right.
Well, that was my wife, not my mom.
What you're telling?
I think Heather
Never
lied.
Could be. Could definitely be. But something changed along the way.
Yeah.
But no, that's solid.
So after onions, I have never stub your toe or bump your funny bone again
Okay.
in your life.
Solid.
Never by accident.
Just
never...
great improved spatial awareness.
Yes. I don't possess that. I'm very clumsy. I don't know if there are people that possess this superpower. I am not one of them. It would probably increase my quality of life with the amount that I do these things, honestly. But really want that to happen.
Yeah, I might be in trouble here. You guys went very mundane, which fits the
Very
bill.
mundane.
I tried to more balance on that tightrope of mundane, but also like good things people would want. And I
I
think
feel like people would want that.
no, I agree, which is why I think you guys might have balanced it a little better than I did. So, like I said, mine gets substantially more mundane after that first one, but I think your guys' least mundane might be more mundane than my most mundane. So I might be in a little bit of trouble here, but we'll see. So, all right. So onions and never stubbing your toe or banging your funny bone. So Joe, you are up with your second pick.
All right, this one's ridiculous, and I loved it, and I brainstormed on it for quite a while to improve it to being as cool as possible. But people do this to represent scissors.
Sure.
Well, my fingers.
Joe is miming. Joe is miming, cutting his fingers. He's going for 2 in 1 episode.
We have a pointer finger and middle finger separating and closing.
There you go. That's
to make a scissor motion.
That's the podcast content we want.
Yeah, there we go. So I will have my fingers actually work as scissors like this.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Oh,
it's great. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
I don't basically, it doesn't save the world, but I don't ever have to have a pair of scissors if I need to cut something. I just do this and it works.
So the thing that immediately popped in my head now, so I will say that's pretty cool. The thing that immediately popped into my head, which like physically hurt me, was now thinking about, when you have that, you don't want to cut because you're kind of lazy, so you have the piece of paper and you just kind of slide the scissors as it cuts. I pictured you doing that with your fingers and just like, the paper like going into there and like, and the webbing and ooh.
I just want to clarify one thing here is that this would only work with paper. Like if I try to cut any other material, it wouldn't work. So I'm not gonna like by mistake cut someone by shaking their hand or anything like that.
That would turn you into an evil villain, not a superhero.
Sure.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
There was, I forget what it was. I'll try to remember, but when I was joking with my wife about this episode, coming up with an idea, she said something where I was like, no, that's definitely more evil villain than superhero. Like I forget what it was. I'm going to try to remember. But I think you definitely brought it back to the right side of the good versus evil debate with it only being paper. You'd be
just
great
for my own convenience.
If you were, now I'm picturing you as a super villain with that ability, and I'm picturing you as like a lawyer, and like people have like legal documents, and then because you're a super villain, you just cut them up with your fingers, and that's your super villain ability.
Well, there's Cutman from Mega Man. He's got like scissor hands.
I know. There's Edward Scissorhands.
Not a clue.
Yeah, but he's not a hero or a villain.
I mean, that could be debated.
Yeah. Don't know Mega Man? Cutman.
I know. I don't know Cutman.
Scissor hands. All right. Well, whatever.
All right. So we have Joe's scissor fingers. All right. So now I have my wraparound pick. So like I said, definitely more mundane than my first, but potentially still cooler than what you guys chose in the sense of like maybe not mundane enough. So we'll see. I will go with, which one do I want first is the question. So I will say for my first pick, I would like the ability to know the exact weather for the next week. So like you can literally just like psychically or however you can think of a location in the world and you just know what the weather is going to be for a week, because I love traveling and I love vacations. So I want to pick one like suited to me. So like to be able to go on a vacation where like you know exactly when to plan it for, because you know exactly what the weather is going to be that you want. You know, not necessarily just that it'll be sunny. It depends on where you're going. Maybe you're going like on a ski vacation, you want it to be snowing or something like that, you know? So I want to just be able to know anywhere in the world. I can just kind of think and just know the weather for a week. Which
is that limited to like how far ahead you can know?
What do you mean?
Could you look like 2 years in the future?
No, literally. I don't mean for like
1
a
week.
week. Yeah, no, she thinks I mean like any given week. But I mean specifically a week in the future. Like I can know the weather for the next 7 days anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be planning. Yeah, I wouldn't be planning like long-term vacations. But like I wouldn't say, oh, in a year I'm going to know the weather in this time. It's more of like, oh, I want to leave. Let's hop on a plane and go somewhere. And I can pick where to go.
For the like upcoming week.
Exactly. Yeah. So I can say like, oh, let's go on a last minute vacation. Let's hop on a plane and go to this place because the weather is going to be beautiful beach weather, or it's going to be snowing and we can, snowboard or ski or whatever. Like we can just kind of pop out and do what we want to do. Plus your everyday life. I mean, I use the example of vacations, but just for your everyday life, it's like, oh, we need to go grocery shopping this week. Let's plan it for when it's like raining or something. We can't do anything else, or let's plan it for when it's nice out so you don't have to drive in the rain, stuff like that. You can kind of just use for like your everyday life.
And I think the fact that it is like the upcoming week and not the way that I thought about it definitely adds to how
the mundane is. Yeah, that's why I did that, because I was like, I need to limit it in a way that's still actually useful. Because if I limited it to like 24 hours, it's like, well, it's super mundane, but it doesn't actually do anything. So I figured any more than a week and you were dead. Like if I said a month, I think that's definitely too good. And if I said in the future, like I could say, oh, June 7th to the 14th, 2026, what's the weather going to be in Tenerife? Like that's too good too. So I think just the literal upcoming week, the next 7 days of your life, I think is a good balance of mundane and still, useful. So.
Yeah. The only issue that I see here that makes it not mundane is that you could save people from this, given that you could look at a location and be like, oh, you're going to get hit by a massive tornado.
Yeah.
Or tsunami.
I would have to think of the specific location, though. You know what I mean? Like, I can't predict. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like it just pops in my head saying, like, oh, Houston's about to get wrecked by a hurricane. Like, I'd actually have to physically think of, like, what's the weather in Houston for that? So I'd have to do that for, like, every city. You know what I mean? Like,
planet.
I'd have to just literally constantly be thinking of cities around the world, which I wouldn't do. So sorry, people getting hit by a tsunami. I just wouldn't do it.
You're out of luck.
I'll pick 3 cities a week. 3 cities. If you guys are getting hit by bad weather, congratulations, you're in luck. If not, But plus, the thing that I think brings it back to mundane is usually they know that much ahead of time how strong like a hurricane would be and stuff. You know what I mean? So like you're saying like, say they're predicting, New Orleans to get hit by another hurricane, and I can think and like see how bad it's going to be. But like, I can't really see how bad it's going to be. I can just see that there will be a hurricane, which they already know if we're less than a week out, So it's not like it could be like, oh, it's a category 5 or it's a category 1. Like, I'll just know like, oh, there will be a hurricane, which like I said, they will already know at that point.
Makes sense.
So I think that keeps it, I think, in an okay, spot. Tornadoes would be the one thing, like in your fitting. Like I could say, oh, there's going to be a tornado that day, and that they won't know in advance. But I'd have to literally sit around thinking like, all right, Omaha, all right, Kansas City, which I'm not particularly gonna use for that ability. But,
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Probably no tornadoes there would be my guess.
I don't think so.
But all right,
like the name of that city.
It's a good name. So that was my second pick. Third pick, I have some good ones. Again, it's tough because I don't think there's going to be any overlap. So I'm just trying to think of which ones I want at this point.
I don't know. Me and Joe already had P overlap on like the first pick.
So I'm going to go for one that I think it's definitely something people will want. But I think it still fits mundane. So you know when like you watch a YouTube video and it's like the funniest thing you've ever seen, and then you all excitedly show your best friend, and they just stare at the screen like, "What is wrong with you? Like this what?" And you're just like,
no.
and you're just like, "Oh, this is the worst moment of my life." So I want to have the superpower of my recommendations always making someone laugh. So like when I show my friend a YouTube video, it is funny to them. They don't just sit there like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, this is your humor. Like, I don't want that to ever happen again. So, you know, I think the first time I showed somebody Chocolate Rain and they just didn't get it and or laugh, I was like, this is the last recommendation I ever make.
The first and only person I ever showed that to was a mistake. It was my mother. She did not get it, and I was like, you know what? That's my fault. That's my bad. I should have tried.
I think I had a friend. I had a few successes on this, but I think I had a friend that didn't laugh at David Blaine Street Magic, which is
Are they still your friend?
No, I don't think I talk to that person anymore. David Blaine, he put me on the roof. He put me on the roof. It's still so it's still one of my favorite ever videos, and they just like didn't laugh, and I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, do you have a soul? Like, what is happening here? So I just don't want that to ever happen again. I want, when I show somebody a video, it like they crack up. It's funny to them. Like,
I have a text from Shelby right now that says he put me on the roof, and she can't hear you. she just heard me say Cheez-Its.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's so funny.
All right, so Joe, with your third pick now.
All right, so this is going to start high and end very mundane. I would like to be able to shoot laser beams out of my eyes that only disintegrate dog poop.
I mean, it definitely did come back to mundane, but like that's still, I think people would really like to have that. Like, it's definitely mundane. I'm not arguing that, but I definitely think that's like something that people would be like, oh, please sign me up. Like,
it's useful. I mean, if you have a dog, it saves you a couple minutes a day. But it doesn't do anything much more than that.
I don't think it's the time though. I think it's the not having to pick up dog poop. Like, I don't think the saving on the time is the concern. Like, I don't think people care about like, oh, I had to spend 30 seconds picking up my dog poop. I think they think, oh, I had to pick up my dog poop. Like,
let me tell you, I would have killed to have this ability the other day. When my dog decided to poop on the one lawn that has a big old sign on the front that says "Keep dogs off lawn," and I went to pick it up and looked up and immediately looked into their open front door and made eye contact with the owner of the house. Yikes. That was the worst part of my entire week. Yikes. So I would have loved to just disintegrate it in that moment and keep moving.
Also, there is a very terrible movie entirely based around that concept. So it's yeah, what was it called? Envy. It's with Jack Black, I think. And like, so one of them invents a spray that disintegrates dog poop and becomes like a quadrillionaire. But it was the other person's idea. So then it's like, you know, it's like the whole thing. But I know it's a movie. It's 100% a movie.
I think you're speaking about the movie The Social Network.
Yeah.
So basically, you stole your superpower from the Winklevoss twins, is what you're saying.
Yes. They invented eye lasers that disintegrate.
All right, so that is a good one. I think that's solidly mundane and useful at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Brandy, you have picks 3 and 4 now.
Yes. So for my third pick, I want to go with the ability to always be able to find a parking spot in a reasonable amount of time.
Sure.
And not particularly a good parking spot, like not a front spot. I just want to find a spot. Because there have been times in my life where it's way too long, way too much time spent on that. Like, I just want to get to the place I'm going, and I'm always late to everything. Like, I'm always late. I just need a good spot somewhere.
Sure. Just, I need to leave my car here, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I can leave my car here. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just, I can leave my car here.
Yeah. And I'm more specifically thinking of, like, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I went into the city for the parade. It took me 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
2.5 hours to find a parking spot. That is not a reasonable time frame for me.
Is that because everybody knocked over all the lamp posts and stuff like into the parking spots? Is that there were a
Yeah.
bunch of like ATMs just chilling in parking spots and like telephone poles just draped across the
Yeah,
street?
just cop cars flipped over.
Flipped cars,
No, that was the
yeah.
night before.
So
Everything's usually cleaned up by the morning.
So I think I can safely tell this quick anecdote because I don't think we have enough listeners yet where this will cause me any legal issues, especially if I don't say his name. I had a buddy at the time who was a pitcher in Major League Baseball. He was a reliever, and he played for a semi-local team, like where he was kind of in the area-ish, and he grew up in South Jersey. In prime, like, Eagles territory, just diehard, super huge Eagles fan. And
Go
after
Birds.
they won the Super Bowl,
Go Birds.
there was a video of him shirtless, like 30 feet up a telephone pole, celebrating. And this was while he was in the MLB. Like this was while like this was, it was preseason, obviously, because it was February, but like he had to report to spring training like in a week or something. And he was shirtless 30 feet up a telephone pole, like just at the parade. So I think I'm clear of legal troubles as long as I don't say who it was, unless that video resurfaces. And then they know who I'm
And then
talking
it's
about.
all your fault.
But it was pretty hysterical. I don't think he ever got in any trouble from it. Like, I don't think the team ever, because I'm sure the team would not have been happy if they found out. But I don't think anything ever came of that. So that was pretty funny. Yeah, Eagles people are people. We'll leave it at that. They're definitely people.
Definitely people.
So, all right. So, Brandy, you have your fourth pick now.
Yes, and my fourth pick is something that I don't know if it would necessarily be superpower worthy, but it's something I would very much like to possess, and that's the ability to make small talk interesting. I hate it. I hate everything about small talk, and I just don't possess it. I'm like, yep, and like people, they can tell immediately, or maybe just to be able to not seem completely uninterested during small talk. One of those two versions of this.
So let me ask: is the route you're going? Is that like when you ask people about the weather, they're like automatically excited and they're like, "Oh, this is a great conversation," or is it having the ability to know what to say in small talk? Like, which route are you going?
No, I always know what to say. I know there's the basic responses.
Sure.
It's just I hate small talk. I'm not looking for them to like make it interesting. I'm looking for it to be interesting to me because
I got you.
people can tell how uninterested I am during small talk.
Sure.
And I imagine they're immediately put off, but I want to possess the ability to find it interesting.
So your superpower is a new personality. That's
Yeah.
your superpower. Okay. I'm just clarifying here as to, okay, sure.
Exactly that.
Exactly that.
My superpower is to not be a bitch.
That's funny. I was trying to think of a way to say, like resting bitch face, but like resting small talk. Like
Resting small talk face.
Yeah, or
RSTF.
or like bitch small talk, or
Yeah.
That's
you want
funny.
to be more approachable as a person.
Yes, I would kill for that.
That is funny. That's a good one. That is funny. All right, Joe, your fourth pick now is on the slot.
All right, my fourth pick. I would like to be able to alphabetize things quickly, like at a quicker rate than the quickest human at alphabetizing things. I want it to be superpower level alphabetization skills.
Yeah, I don't think you will find a single listener or host of this podcast, or basically anyone, that would claim that to be not the most mundane thing they've ever heard. So I will give you definite credit on that one. I know why you want it.
It'll be because of this.
Yeah, like I know why you want it, since you collect, different collectibles, comic books, magic cards, stuff like
cards,
that.
Yeah.
But so it makes perfect sense for you. But definitely just absolutely mundane as shit. So yeah, you definitely get credit for that being just super mundane.
I mean, it'd be great because like you'd like, I've got like a bookshelf right here. I've got all my comics right here. That all stuff, but like I could also do like the spice rack. Alphabetize the spice rack. Like,
sure.
a classic mundane activity.
Now I'm just
Yeah.
picturing somebody going through the spice rack being like, all right, need the cumin. So we got A, B. There it is. See, got the cumin. I thought it was before the cinnamon, but then I was like, wait, cinnamon CI, duh, there's the cumin. It's after the cinnamon, you know?
Are you both at the level of adult where you actually have a spice rack? Because I just have a cabinet where they're all just kind of shoved in there.
Well, we got a wedding gift. We got like a really nice spice rack wedding gift. So we do have like an actual, like, you know, with all the different compartments and stuff.
We have an exceptional amount of spices because vegan cooking
so do I.
requires it. So we actually have, it's kind of like stadium seating. So it's kind of like halfway between, it's a
Sure.
rack that's in the closet, and the first level is the lowest, and it goes higher and higher as you go back into the cabinet. So you
I can never
kinda
find
look in.
those.
I think we got it as a wedding gift.
So I'll say
I just have to get married to get my
There you
spices
go.
in order. That's
That's
what I'm
what it is.
gathering from this.
Get
So-
hitched.
I
Ugh.
will say this was, you know, I shouldn't be surprised because I was asking for this with the topic, and that's really at the end of the day, that's on me. But that might have been the most mundane 30 seconds in podcast history of talking about our spice rack cabinet situation. I'm just going to go
sorry.
ahead and say that's why people tune in.
Hey, guys. Just to clarify for all of our users, I've received a text update from my wife saying, "I bought it at Target. Stop lying." So we did not
Okay.
get it as a gift.
It was not a gift. It was your
Yeah.
wife's
Tell Shelby I said
dedication.
thank you, because now I'll be going to Target after the podcast to purchase an appropriate
go.
spice stadium.
It was your wife's dedication and quality household maintenance that led to your spice rack.
Yes.
So all right, great. So we got crazy spice alpha. You're right. That is hard to say. Alphabetization.
Alphabetization.
Yeah, sure.
Alphabetization.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
So that's Joe's
Whatever.
fourth pick. All right, so now I have to finish up my draft, which is tough because I still have a lot of things I like on here. Let's go with. I think I've decided on my two. So the first one I'm going to do is, you know, when you're in a restaurant, and this is especially hard for us too, I guess, because Joe is vegan. Brandy, I don't think Brandy, you're not vegetarian or vegan or anything, are you? No. I'm
No, I just lean
vegetarian.
towards it.
Sure. I'm vegetarian leaning towards vegan. Joe is vegan. So I guess it's a little tougher for us. But you know when you're at a restaurant and you have like your favorite that you get every time? Like every time you just go back there and you're like, I want to get something different. And then you get something different and you're like, I shouldn't have got the different thing.
And
Like
it's a
I just
disappointment.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it less than what I normally get. So
Yeah.
I want the superpower of always knowing the exact best right choice on the menu. So like
Ooh,
you're sitting
yes.
down at the restaurant and you just hone in, like the only thing visible to you on the menu is the food that is going to taste the best to you that night, you know, that you're in, or that morning that you're in the most mood for. That's really just going to hit the spot.
I would kill for that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
That's
Like I think people would definitely love that, but I think it's still mundane enough. That's what I'm saying. I tried to like kind of border that tightrope, or walk that tightrope rather. But yeah, it's just because I always had, it was more so when I ate meat, you know, because then you have more options. Like now, usually when I go to a restaurant, there's only a handful of options. But I always used to have, like, when we go out to dinner as a family, I had like that favorite where I'm like, I've gotten this the last 6 times that we've been here because it's delicious. And then I decide to pivot and I'm like, why? I just got a lesser quality food for no reason. Like I want my main meal, you know? So I think that would definitely be useful. But again, you're not saving the world with it. And then to wrap up my draft, I would like it so that, and I think this might actually, I'm going to kind of out myself here and say this might actually be kind of more like my first one where it is mundane, but like I think people would still really want it, which is whenever you put on clothes, they instantly adjust to the exact right fit for you. So like not necessarily for sizing. Like I'm not saying you can like smush on a small if you're a large and it'll like expand and fit. I mean more so like you can put on like a bigger, like baggier piece of clothing, it'll kind of like shrink wrap itself to like the right size for you.
Yeah.
So you get that real, like I was thinking, especially like with work, with like suits and stuff, because I got to get them tailored and everything. Like you just buy a little bit bigger of a suit, you put it on, and you get that nice like slim fit suit. You know, that's kind of the modern style, is like the real slim fit, like, you know, kind of hugging, you know, your body
Tapered.
a little bit. Like, yeah, taper. There you go. That was the word I couldn't think of. Because that is how I wear my suits anyway. I get like the, you know, the slimmer, the athletic fit. And it would be nice to not really have to worry about. And then you pay, you know, you got to pay a couple $100 to get it tailored or whatever. If not for each suit, it's not that much for each suit. But like if you get a few suits, like, but you just pop them on, and then boom, nice, stylish, sleek fit, and you're good to go.
I thought of the most mundane thing humanly possible when you said that, and I thought you were just referring to, like, you know, when you put a shirt on and like it's kind of crooked and you gotta fix it.
That is definitely more mundane than mine, for sure.
Yeah,
This
that's what I
is
thought you
good,
were referring to,
though.
and I was like, yeah, okay, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yours is definitely more
very-
mundane. I think mine is probably a little bit more teetering the line of like, you know, too good. But yeah.
Not really, though. Like it doesn't. It just it makes you spend less money on clothes and look nicer. That's
Sure.
it.
Yeah, I mean, my only thought was I think a lot of people would kill to just look nicer without trying. So that was
Sure.
my, you know, because like especially like with women, like I'm sure, like I know with my wife, she has to go through a lot when we have like a nice night out. She usually puts on like 4 or 5 different dresses, and like, you know what I mean? Like if you could just put on a dress and it fits exactly how you want, and then you're like, okay, good, I don't need to do anything else now. You know, like I think that would be pretty popular.
Feminine clothing is terrible for that, so I feel like
Sure.
most
I-
people that wear those would very much enjoy those.
Sure.
I like truly realized that for the first time last night because Shelby had a bunch of clothes she's getting rid of, and she was like, "Here, do you want this? It's just a flannel." And I was like, "Yeah, let me see." And I look at the tag, and it's XL. And I'm like, "Oh, great! I wear large and sometimes XL. You know, this shirt's an XL. It's a little bit baggier on me, but I wear it." And I put this thing on, and no joke, I could have worn this shirt in 5th grade. It was so tight on me, and it was a
Yeah.
women's XL. Like it's absurd how different the sizing is. And,
Sure.
And
Yeah, and even between brands, it varies. It's impossible.
yeah,
That's the thing that always kills me. Like when I'm helping, you know, if we're shopping or whatever, I'm helping Heather pick out stuff. Or just, you know, she's talking to me conversationally. Like that's the craziest thing to me is like you'll literally. I think the big thing she said is with I think it was with pants. She said is the big thing. Like you could literally be like a medium in one brand, or like, you know, I think they do numbers. I'm not really that familiar, to be honest, but I think you could be like a 4 in one brand, and then in another brand you're like an 8, and you're like, what the hell? How did this happen? Like,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
just
like,
bought 2 pairs of pants this week. One of them is a large, and one of them is a 3XL, and they both fit the same.
yeah, that's like, that to me blows my mind. How they don't just have like
Yeah.
standard sizing. Like I know when I go to get like a suit, I know my pants need to be 34, 32. Like that's my correct sizing, you know? So, and it doesn't matter what the brand is. Like, you know, some might be
Yeah.
like a tiny bit more like snug or loose, but not like where I need to
Yeah.
change a whole size, just like the way that they fit, you know? So that to me was always like a surprise. That's actually what made me think of it, to be honest, because I thought of how much trouble she has with like clothes shopping. And also now, I think I've mentioned before, but she's very pregnant at this point. So, you know, clothes aren't fitting the same way. And obviously, you know, that whole issue. And that's what made me think of that would be like, oh, if she could just get like this really huge dress and put it on and it just shrinks to what she needs, you know, with the pregnancy, like perfect. She's good to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So clothes and best food choice will wrap up my draft. And then Joe, you can wrap up your draft with your pick number 5.
All right, so this kind of goes back to our everyday tasks that were
Sure.
that whole thing. What was that? Was that last week or
It
the week
was
before?
last week. Yep.
It was last week. Okay, so this kind of harkens back to that. One of the things I personally hate doing is putting away laundry.
Sure. We
I
remember.
forget if I picked that. I think I did.
You
pick
did.
that,
You
right?
did. Because my
You
wife
did,
liked
yeah.
that one as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I want the ability of being able to throw a piece of clothing and a hanger up in the air at each other and have the hanger go hook into the piece of clothing and come down in my hand, hanger first, grab the hanger and put it right in. I don't want to have to go through the whole process.
Sure.
I just want to grab, and this saves me time, but more than that, it probably would make putting away clothes way more enjoyable because I'm like throwing stuff in the air, catching it. Like there's like superhero pow, bang, booms going on around me because I want to be a comic book character, and maybe some like cool anime music playing in the background. I don't know.
I would want to see that after you've been doing it for a few weeks and you've gotten used to doing it, and then just see you like speed run it.
Like,
it just literally just like absolutely speed run it. Just boom, 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 boom.
I don't want to see that. I want to see when you first discover that you have this ability, like how that comes about.
His origin story.
Eye of the Tiger's playing in the background.
I just dropped both of these things on the floor by accident.
What would cause, how like obviously Spider-Man got his powers from like a radioactive spider and stuff like what would happen to you to cause you to have that power?
Obviously I open the lint trap in the dryer, and when I pull it out, it creates cloud? No, it creates a static charge. So when I touch the lint, it shocks me and gives me this power in my fingertips.
I give you a lot of credit because that was a very good origin story off the top of your head. That was very impressive. Good. I was trying to put you on the spot a little bit there and mess with you, but that was extremely impressive. I will give you credit for that. So I like that. That's fun. About
when you pull it out and all the residual like dust flies out, particles.
That's good. That's funny. I think those are both solid.
Yours is better.
All right, Brandy, bring us home.
Yes. Also something I don't even know if I love this anymore, but Joe took the pee thing from me, and it really just ruined my whole draft.
I took the pee.
He took the pee. I want the ability to know when things are expired in the fridge without having to do a smell test.
Oh,
yeah, that's solid. Especially because sometimes
to never smell anything rancid ever again in my life.
Especially because sometimes they're expired without smelling, and then you eat them, and your body just does not react kindly to them. So
I don't like that.
Yeah, that would be useful for sure. You just look in the fridge, and then
I'm just thinking of like I never have to smell bad milk again. Granted, I don't use milk anymore, so I guess technically I don't ever have to smell bad milk again, but you get the point.
It'd be great if this was like a spectrum kind of thing. So like you look in there and like stuff that's real fresh is green, and then it goes down to like yellow, and then orange is like, hey, I gotta eat this today.
You gotta eat this red in the next 5 minutes.
Red is like, get this out of here, and black is like, when was the last time you cleaned out your fridge?
Yeah.
Did you forget this was here? It's been here since the dawn of time.
That's funny. Yeah, now I'm picturing your origin story of like you drinking like rancid milk and it going to, and then it just like spread. It's like a toxin that spreads throughout your body, but now it like causes you to do your power.
Yeah, it's my awakening.
Yeah. The way I pictured it is that, again, the rancid milk, great idea. Drinks the rancid milk and then like doubles over on the ground, like vomits and passes out in her own vomit of curdled milk, and then wakes up a few hours later, opens up the fridge to like see what's going on, and it's like
yeah,
that was a very graphic origin story.
I apologize to all of our listeners.
Yeah, that was something for sure. But yeah, so that will wrap up the draft. I think we definitely had some good ones in there. Only the one overlap, which I think was to be expected, but also still very funny that you guys overlapped on that, especially what it was. Definitely made it fun.
It's the very first thing I wrote down at all. I was writing this down at work. Yeah. And the first thing, get rid of pee feeling. That's what I wrote on here.
That's great. So, all right, great. So that was our Mundane Superpowers draft. If you enjoyed that, I know exactly what you can do. You can go ahead and give us a 5-star rating. Would be awesome. Would really help us out. We would appreciate it. Again, if you have any ideas that you would like to submit, ridiculously.seriouspodcast@gmail.com. I will look over them. Maybe we will make a show about them. So that was our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in and being a listener, and we will see you guys next week.